speakers, guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us today at the second ASEAN Insurance Summit. Let me begin by highlighting the theme this year's summit, which is the rise of ASEAN. How can we, insurance industry, strategically position itself to play a bigger role in the ASEAN economic community, ASEAN economic development? 2016 marks the first year of the realization of the AEC and the start of the blueprint adopted at the 27th ASEAN Summit in Malaysia, and the various national and international initiatives discussed, developed during the recent 29th ASEAN Summit in Laos, indicate a greater commitment among national leaders to propel the AEC forward, particularly through private-public partnership. The ASEAN insurance industry, with its stable and long-term financial asset and commitment, can certainly play a greater role in supporting and sustaining our region's economic growth as a whole. For 2012 and to 2015, the overall ASEAN gross written premium grew at a compounded annual growth rate of 5.8%, even amidst prolonged weakness in several ASEAN countries. As active participants in the AEC, the insurance industry strives to collaborate among ourselves and our partners in the public and private sectors to explore practical and meaningful ways to value add to the entire region. This is what this year's summit aims to achieve, to create a platform for members to discuss how the industry can contribute beyond its home nation's economic well-being. Not only that, but also to the greater region's economic growth. Through meaningful and practical exchange between industry players and regulators, I believe that we will be rewarded with possible resolutions or innovative ideas and collaborations, particularly in the 4 key issues that we have identified: marine aviation and transport development, narrowing the talent gap, infrastructure financing, and risk financing. I would like to remind everyone here how close to 10 years ago, the leaders of ASEAN articulated a bold vision to adopt the ASEAN Economic Blueprint to guide the establishment of the AEC. The vision is slowly but surely becoming a reality. With the rise of ASEAN and the AEC, the insurance industry has to work fast not only to drive the integration, but to stay ahead of the curve.
It is my distinct honor to open the second ASEAN Insurance Summit. Since our inaugural summit 2 years ago in Singapore, where we had over 200 participants from across the region, the AIC Secretariat has been working closely with the ASEAN Secretariat and all of you to develop tangible and practical action plans for the region's insurance industry. Let me take this opportunity to thank the event organizer and our industry partners and sponsors for the efforts in preparing this high-level summit. Now is the time for us to dive into topics of interest and generate insightful discussions and practical recommendations to be presented to our regulators and hopefully adopted to add meat to the master plan for the industry going forward. As your chairman for the past 12 months, it has been a privilege for me to witness up close what the AIC has been doing to make insurance thrive in the region. The AIC is almost 50-year-old now, yet it continues to live up to its mission as a regional platform for insurance leaders, professionals, and practitioners to network and share their knowledge and expertise for the development of the industry in Southeast Asia. ASEAN has begun the process of economic integration, but we still have a long way to go before we achieve this. Things are moving at a pace slower than expected, yet I tell you that things are looking up. We all know that the ASEAN is rising. Now our industry must rise with the region and help it rise some more. The question now is this: how do we position our industry to take advantage of the growth in the region? Here's how. In many of our countries, public systems of social protection are underdeveloped. Insurance can complement basic safety nets in healthcare, post-retirement income, or even disaster recovery planning. In this last area, we can very well fill in the gaps as government seems to grope in the dark for ways to make ends meet. Our region is situated in the hotbed for natural disasters, the Pacific Ring of Fire. My country, for instance, together with our host country, Indonesia, are blessed with so many active volcanoes, faults, and all that. Chances of eruptions and earthquakes are definitely high here. We are also blessed with so many typhoons. We in the Philippines are visited by at least 22 typhoons a year. Fortunately, we have you as our neighbors who are ever willing to help out when super typhoons like Haiyan or Yolanda strike. Later, I will be showing a video of the turnover ceremonies of the houses that the ASEAN Insurance Council contributed to the survivors of Haiyan. 20 families just moved into brand new concrete houses because of the generosity of AIC members. For this summit, I have only 3 takeaways. First, we need to continue pushing for integration. We have the Blueprint 2025, which spells out our to-do list between 2015 to 2025. We have to review this periodically, check our status, and remind each member country of their respective commitments. The second thing I want you to remember is that we need to continue to dialogue among key stakeholders. We need to keep on talking, not only with governments, not only amongst ourselves, but more so with our customers.
The insurance sector are also add diversity to the institutional investor base and much less prone to capital flight than the foreign portfolio investors. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, there is a difference on financial sector development level among the countries in ASEAN. This also applies to the insurance sector. One important challenge on developing ASEAN insurance market is financial market sophistication and development highly variable across the region. This will have challenge on integrating market with differing level of regulatory sophistication, trust between regulator, and ultimately the mutual recognition of standard on which the confidence to open the trade in financial sector. Thereby, appropriate and necessary steps can be made to meet the challenge of industry. This even can establish a good collaboration among stakeholders to create milestone in developing industry, and therefore it could play a bigger role in financing the infrastructure. Distinguished guests, insurance sector play an important role in ASEAN economic development. It can have fulfilled the investment need to support high economic growth. With this pivotal role, I very much welcome the summit as it provides an opportunity for all participants to gain the latest knowledge, with stronger network also contribute to region discussion in insurance sector. I hope that all of you could learn and benefit from the insight delivered by the distinguished speaker and fellow participants. Together we can build a better insurance sector for resilient, inclusive, and sustainable development of ASEAN.
I'm pleased and honored to join you here today on the 32nd ASEAN Insurance Summit in this very historical city of Yogyakarta. On behalf of Indonesia Financial Services Authority, or OJK, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to ASEAN Insurance Councils for actualizing this summit. I would like to express my highest appreciation for all of distinguished speakers, participants from the ASEAN countries. We are pleased and honored to host this important gathering of ASEAN Insurance CEO Summit. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the World Economic Outlook 2016, global economic growth is expected to remain subdued at 3.1% in 2016, reflecting a more weaker than expected recovery in the United States of America, the ongoing rebalancing of Chinese economy, as well as potential economic consequences of the Brexit. Insurance growth in 2016 and 17 is expected to be in line with the global economic growth. Meanwhile, in 2015, the insurance industry has grown at a robust pace after an impressive recovery in the year before, according to the Global Insurance Market Report 2015. Premium growth has slowed down slightly in 2015 in both the advanced economies and the emerging market. Global life insurance premium have risen by 3.3% in real term in 2014. Non-life insurance premium are up 2.5% of an inflation-adjusted basis after a 2.8% increase in 2014. Non-life insurance premium growth in emerging markets slowed down, notably reflecting weaker economic growth. Despite the challenging economic environment in the global economy, the growth prospect of ASEAN insurance market continue to remain in line with the growth of the world's total insurance premium in 2015, where the fastest growth came from emerging markets. The ASEAN total premium reached $87.9 billion, grew by 8.1% in 2015. Total assets of insurance ASEAN insurance sector were still robust at the total $388 billion. Life insurance continued to hold a bigger share, about 83% of the total assets, while non-life sector accounted for 17% of the total assets. The average insurance penetration and insurance density in ASEAN are still comparatively low to the global insurance penetration rate and the global insurance density. Global insurance penetration rate in 2015 was 6.2%, while in ASEAN 6 include Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. Insurance penetration rate is 3.3% in 2015. Global insurance density slightly dropped from 662 in 2014 to 621 in 2015. The decline was shown significantly in advanced economies, while the performance in emerging economies was steady. However, the insurance density of ASEAN 6 also slightly dropped to the 128 US dollars in 2015 to 131 in the previous years. Overall, the ASEAN insurance sector has performed well against the global uncertain backdrops. Despite the different stages of development, the insurance market in ASEAN are growing fast with some progress and development toward economic regional integration. The region is expected to sustain robust premium growth in 2016 and 17. Ladies and gentlemen, The Indonesian economy in 2015, as measured by gross premium product, increased 9.74% from 2014 to 2015. Within the same period, gross premium income of insurance industry increased by 19.5% from 2014 to 2015. Thus, in 2015, the ratio gross premium to GDP or penetration rate increased from 2.35% to 2.56%.
Several different work streams, so including all the financial sector, and insurance and retirement income work stream is chaired by me, and I represent that group for this meeting, and I'd like to share our activities in Asia Pacific region. And recently, the APEC is chaired by Peru this year, and we had a finance ministers meeting in Lima in October. There we had a very good outcome. So APEC finance ministers endorsed our recommendation, including the activities of APFF, and then suggest the authorities to work together with the private sector on those matters. And there are some topics related with insurance cited here. And then the APEC finance minister endorsed the 10-year roadmap last year in Philippines in Cebu, which is called Cebu Action Plan, which have 4 pillars in terms of activities by them that include a lot of insurance aspects. And APFF was commissioned to help them in terms of expertise and business and also the private, public-private partnership standpoint. So this is very big activities there. And importantly, we have been collaborating with ASEAN. ASEAN Insurance Council is a key member of the APFF Insurance and Retirement Workstream. Through that participation, so we are trying to have a consistent message between ASEAN and APEC, because we need to have a one voice to make our dream come true. This is something like that. And then, so recently, the APEC finance we submitted the progress report to the finance ministers, and it was endorsed in Peru. But before that, so we had a preparation meetings in Machu Picchu for some reason. And then in Machu Picchu, you see a lot of 3 steps and everywhere, because number 3 is a sacred number for the Pachamama, which is a goddess in the Andes, who provides happiness and harvest and sustainable life to the human being. Sounds like APFF, right? So what are the 3 steps to make our dream come true? First, so we need to promote retirement saving so that we can have a long-term funding available. Second, so we need to promote infrastructure investments so that those investments would make sense. Third, the regulation and accounting standards which not prevent but promote those roles of insurance companies and pension. Those are the 3 steps to work on this matter. Only problem of Pachamama is that Inca people believe that the Pachamama may cause earthquake when she gets angry. This issue is covered by disaster risk financing work of APFF. Also, microinsurance service stream is working to promote inclusive growth in Asia Pacific region. This is all these 5 topics that we are working on. Talking about earthquake, yesterday we heard a very big earthquake in Tohoku area. But the good news is that we have not received any news about dead people. Only 14 injured. A couple, it's like a magnitude 7 earthquake. A couple of months ago, a very big earthquake occurred in Tottori Prefecture, where I spent my childhood. It was more than magnitude 6. I called my grandmother, who is becoming 103 years old next month. She said, no impact at all. She's very fine and she's doing some activities. I think Japan should be proud of resilient infrastructure and humans. The next, so this is kind of the roadmap of sustainable development jointly developed by APFF and Asian Development Bank. The idea is that we promote long-term saving products so that the consumers can get the long-term returns from those investments. Currently, the short-term bank deposit dominate their finance, but we want to promote those. That will bring a long-term funding available to develop capital markets and also infrastructure projects and also supporting disaster financing. By doing this, we share the burden between the public sector and the private sector. It's a good thing for government as well. So we are trying to have triple win for consumers and private sector and government. This is what we are trying to do. And in terms of pension and protection, we also have 3 steps to promote this. First, we want to promote mandatory provision of scalable retirement system. Also, we promote tax incentives to promote long-term saving products. Also, we try to have a product innovation and with enhancing the financial awareness with a lot of education programs. Those are the 3 recommendations included in the progress report. In the recent APEC dialogue, it was one issue was identified. In APEC region, there are old economies and young economies. So in the young economies, the aging is not a very big issue, but being in the young population doesn't mean that you are young forever. So you need to prepare for retirement money and you need a long-term funding in those economies too. And then we can promote the long-term pension products by using those, but it may take time. But they need infrastructure funding today. So in the meantime, probably they can attract the funding from elsewhere which have already a long-term saving products. So we are trying to address very holistically those matters. And then in Inca language, do you know what Machu Picchu means? It means old mountains. And Huayna Picchu means new mountains. The issue is how to explore Huayna Picchu using the resource and experience we get from Machu Picchu. This is the issue here. Next issue is infrastructure investments. We promote the infrastructure as a defined asset class in the case of Solvency II in Europe. You may have heard a lot of complaints about Solvency II, but trust me, there's something good about Solvency II.
Agenda today looks like that. There are really 4 topics that I want to talk about. First of all, just some very brief comments on developments in ASEAN as we see things from the standpoint of a credit rating agency. Then the meat of my presentation is going to be around discussion of the role of international credit ratings, and I'll be drawing on some lessons from developed markets that I think those of us that live and work in the ASEAN countries learn some lessons from. And then a slightly separate topic, but an important topic, the relevance of sovereign ratings in terms of insurance company credit ratings. An important topic and not really very well understood. So, let me move on very quickly through the first section of my presentation. I don't really want to spend very much time on this. The previous 2 speakers have done a far better job than I could ever attempt to do in talking about developments within ASEAN and the AEC. All I would really mention on this slide and the next slide is that we have immense diversity within the 15 countries of ASEAN.